Welcome back, everyone. We're going to be solving LeetCode 383 Ransom Note. So we're given two strings, ransom note and magazine. Return true if ransom note can be constructed by using the letters from magazine, and false otherwise. We know each letter in magazine can only be used once inside of our ransom note. Okay, examples. Ransom note is A, magazine is B, returns false. Okay, simple. Ransom note AA, magazine AB, false. Right, we can only use one A, but we actually need two. Okay, so the easiest way to do this would be to use a counter, a frequency counter. So let's grab that from the collections module. From collections, import counter. We'll call it counts is equal to counter of, well, since we're limited by the counts in magazine, we should count those. Magazine. Now, for those of you that are not familiar with the counter, let us print out counts so you can see exactly what's happening. Okay, so as you can see, it's just looping through our magazine and grabbing the frequency of characters that appear. So now what do we need to do? Now we need to reconstruct this ransom note. So how can we do that? How can we reconstruct that from what we're given in magazine? Well, we can loop through our ransom note, right? And if this character is in our magazine and the count within our magazine is greater than 0, we can decrement it, right? But if we run into, let's say we decrement it once, right? And then the next character in ransom note is, in this case, another A, well, our counter is now at 0 for the occurrences of A in magazine. So we can't do anything. We can't reconstruct this ransom note. So we would have to return false. So how do we do that? We can say for character in ransom note, if that character is in counts and counts of that character is greater than 0, we will decrement it. So how do we do that? We say counts of character minus equals 1. Otherwise, we will return false here. And then if we ever exit this loop, that means we reconstructed our ransom note, so we should just be able to return true. So let's run through this. A, B, we can't decrement anything, so we return false, true. Okay, so let's run this. And we're failing test case 3. We output false. And counts is greater than 0. Minus equals 1, return false. Let's put an else clause here. Okay, so we passed all 3 test cases. Let's submit this, see if it works. And it does work, it's accepted. So, what are the time and space complexities for this? Well, in order to create this counter object, this runs an O of n time, right? We have to loop through our magazine and grab all the frequencies, so we're touching all the characters at least once. And then this loop is going to run O of n time. Why O of n instead of O of n squared? Well, because normally checking if something is within another data structure runs an O of n time, but since it's a dictionary, we have that O of 1 lookup time. So that's why it's O of n instead of O of n squared. And Yep, that's it for time. So our time complexity will simplify to O of n, and our space complexity is going to be whatever the length of our counts is, right? We're using a brand new data structure, so we are going to say the space complexity is whatever the length of counts is. Okay, and that'll do it for LeetCode 383 Ransom Note.